So Russ, here's the cool thing. You were talking about what you're in Florida when you're down there, you're going to do a presentation on all sorts of awesomeness because I want you to tell everybody who you are and your background. I think once they understand what you've already done and accomplished to this point, it'll make them see you in a different light and who really is Russ. And then you take it however you want. This group is all across the board. This is our tribe. We meet every Friday morning. We're going to add more people. But I just want you, I was just telling them, I want them to all know you, but I want you to know them as well. And so we're all at different levels in production, different levels in attraction. Like you are you're one of the regional VPs of growth. And so I just want you to bring fire to this meeting this morning, and I'm going to let you go.
All right. Everybody needs a helmet, soft pillow, and possibly a seatbelt. Because I'm going to give you 2 hours of content in 45 minutes. Okay. Here's the fun part. This was recorded. So at some point you're like, oh my God, you just blew my brain up. Let's go backwards and pull it back together. So fast sketch on me. Okay. This is my least favorite part of the thing. So I got out of high school, worked on the railroad for 2 years, literally swinging a sledgehammer, driving spikes, and realized I don't ever want to do that. And that started the path of never doing that kind of stuff. Became a hairstylist. You like what I did with that? I was a licensed hairstylist for a number of years, got super allergic to the chemicals, wasn't able to work in a hair salon anymore, which I know is weird and funny. So I got into kitchen bath design, project management, doing remodel stuff, mostly kitchen bath stuff with some addictions and so forth. And I had to learn a ton of stuff about houses, right? And then I saw this article on a magazine with a concrete countertop, and I'm like, holy crap, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I started a concrete countertop company in 1999 before anybody even knew what that was. And then in 2004-05, I was in Detroit market. Market was getting destroyed. And I said, I got to shift my life, shift my business. Remodeling was getting smoked because a bunch of people got laid off in Detroit. So the money just was drying up. And I'm like, I either sell the company or I double down and try to suck it up and survive. My wife has muscle issues. She's like technically disabled. If you walked into the room, you wouldn't know she had a problem, but she can't stand for more than 20, 30 minutes, can't sit for very long, right? So that changes everything. So we decided to move somewhere warmer. My wife's cousin was in the real estate business. He's a broker in Tampa, Florida. And he's like, hey, Russ, with your skill set, like an idiot can make $100,000 in Tampa right now. This is 05. And I'm like, I'm the biggest idiot I know. Cool, right? So like, I got this one nailed. Okay, so I show up in Tampa, and then beginning December 2nd of 05, and I call it the Pearl Harbor of my finances. I got to watch a real estate market getting completely destroyed, and a market getting completely destroyed with zero people that I know in Tampa, except my wife's cousin, who's a broker, and zero experience in the real estate business. So here's the thing. Elizabeth, I had an unfair advantage in 05, 06. Okay, unfair advantage. And all of this is about how you look at stuff, guys. If you get nothing else out of this, literally everything in life is about how you look at stuff, okay? So in 06, get in 06, and I have the unfair advantage. You know what my unfair advantage was? If I didn't make money, I don't get to eat, right? And if you don't think that's an unfair advantage, I was willing to do whatever it took, right? And then I got into the business, and I'm like, all right, Rob, come on, man, show me. I'll do anything, right? He had me door knocking. He had me calling BizBos. He had me calling expireds. He had me chasing my freaking tail around. I was in the networking B&I group, and I was doing all this other stuff. And I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'd rather shoot myself in the head than do this crap. I don't want to do this stuff, right? So I'm out going like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a different way. Now, listen, guys, I'm not saying don't do that stuff. And I will tell you, if you're backed in the corner and you got nothing else, freaking get good at it. Okay. Get really good at it. But I started to think like it's got to be a better way. So I started to figure out a way to build my better way. So here's the fun part, Elizabeth. Jump forward to 2007, July 2007. I get real estate agent of the month in our office. And we had like 85 people in the office, right? This is a Prudential office for very traditional brokerage. I got agent of the month in July of 2007. And I get this little certificate, and I go home, and I'm like, honey, look at me. I got this. I'm agent of the month. I'm paraphrasing. My wife will say, that's not how the conversation happened. In my head, this is exactly how it happened. She looked at me, and this is how I took it. She looked at me and said, if you're number one, what the hell is everybody else doing? Because we're broke. Right? I'm like, wow, this is such a great start, right? So then it was a matter of like, I started doing a couple of things that I enjoyed. Like I started looking back and I go, okay, I got to do something different. How do I do something different? Okay, well, where did my business come from? Epiphany. Where did my business that I've done come from? The little bit that I did, where did it come from? And I started realizing that if I tie things back, 4, 5, 6 of them in the last year were from people I mountain biked with. And I'm like, well, what the heck? Maybe I should double down on that, right? So then I started intentionally doing things with the mountain biking club. Because the mountain biking club, by the way, had 750 members. So I started showing up for the work days, and I started showing up for the Tuesday night hole in the fence ride, and I started showing up for the, and started showing up for their big end of the year bash thing that they did, and started showing up and meeting people. And I started realizing, like, every time I meet somebody new, Elizabeth, they always ask me the same question. Hey, what do you do for business, right? And when they ask me what I do for business, I say I'm a real estate agent, and they come back with what?
How's the market?
Every freaking time, right? Like, how's the market? Like, have you guys had that experience? Yes, right? Okay. So then I was like, all right. So I go back to the boss. I'm like, okay, people keep asking me, how's the market? And he's like, well, Russ, what you need to do is you need to have an elevator pitch. And I was like, all right, elevator pitch. Sounds great. And this is, by the way, if you meet Rob, that's actually pretty close to what he does. He's a funny, freaking lovable dude, right? And you're like, well, Russ, so I came up with this, like, okay, so my job as a real estate agent is to help people listing their house, get top dollar for a house, and help buyers get the best deal on a house of their dreams. And he's like, dude, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You can roll with that. I rolled with that. And every time I said that to people, they stopped talking to me. Like, every time I started to do any version of an elevator pitch, they didn't get more engaging. They were looking for a reason to get out of the conversation. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm like pissing off person after person. I don't get the vibe that they want to talk to me more, right? It's got to be something different. So my first recipe is, number one, how do you shift that? Okay. I learned how to shift that and had people coming to me, and I was like, bam, this is baller stuff. I love this. This works every time. So I showed a couple of people in the office. 2008, the owners of the company asked me to run their Land O'Lakes office. And that's not butter, by the way. I asked, Land O'Lakes, Florida. And so I inherited 28 agents in the middle of 2008, worst real estate market in the world at that point. Like, we had 13,000 agents just in our board in January of 2008, 13,000 real estate agents, 800 closings for the whole market. Wow. Less than 1 in 13 people made $1 for the month of January. So you can imagine, when 12 people are starving, that's a problem. Okay. 12 out of 13 are starving. Okay. So I inherit this office. I inherit 27 agents, of which 11 of them have done more than one sale by July. What I didn't realize is I had inherited the Titanic after it sunk. Like, this thing's already underwater. Okay. So over the next 2 years, brought that thing back around, went from losing 300 grand to making money. And then we merged it with another office that was all giving away everything. And so I ran the top office in Tampa for that company, and the largest privately owned real estate office in the town. And by the end of 2012, I realized that I was going to make them $300,000 for every 10 that I make. And I'm doing the math in my head, Elizabeth. I'm like, that's not right. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm busting my ass, made this happen. And so I resigned for the best paying job I ever had. My wife almost had a freaking heart attack. But by then I was like, honey, I've been teaching people how to do this stuff. Don't worry, I'll be fine. So 2013, I go out on my own, resign from the best paying job I ever had, with benefits, with health insurance. And my wife's going, holy crap. And of course, because she's amazing, she's like, do what you got to do. I'm not going to like it. I will fight you every step of the way, but do what you got to do. And I went out and sold 105 houses in 2013. So we're all right. 143 in 14, 136 in 15. I bought 50% of a real estate company in 14, sold it as a fix and flipper 15 months later. The company that bought it asked me to run the lower half of the country. I had 28 offices under me, just under $1 billion in sales. And then I stopped doing that when they asked me to do illegal crap, something about integrity sucks. And said, I can't do that. I will not put my name on that. And they gave me a nice check to leave. So I came to EXP, because EXP was decimating that company. And then I was with EXP for a short period of time, and then I couldn't actually turn around in most of the photos. So you'll see photos of me back in the day with Scott Lewis, back in the day in Phoenix, and you'll see this dude with hair facing backwards. You just see the back of me and my butt, because I couldn't stand forward because I'd get sued by the company, right? So they're like, you got to be in the picture. I'm like, I will face backwards. That picture will come back at some point and say, that's when he started, right? And then I left EXP to help build a company called Fathom person that I loved in business, good mentor, asked me to come and be a VP for that company. I helped them recruit 2,079 agents in 15 months with a 5.8 per person productivity. So it's about selling houses. I'm all about production. Like, we're in this business to make money. We're in this business to sell houses. And by the way, while you're doing that, you can attract real estate agents, and I can do that recipe for you. Okay.
That's what we want to know, because the Fathom is huge, and now how fast you guys grew and how fast you helped take that company. And then we're so blessed that you're in that role here and what you're doing here. So yes, we want the recipe and the ingredients, and we're going to make a cake.
All right, ready for this? Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the recipe. I'll draw this one fairly big. Okay. Plus houses equals plus money equals plus people, and then EXP.
Okay, so watch this. Okay, I know this is small. I'm in Florida right now, hiding from Michigan weather. I'm at an Airbnb. I literally stuck these on the wall yesterday. You got to see my rig. It's set up on a foosball table in a box and duct tape. I'm dead serious. I will send you a picture.
But it looks good. I know, it's behind the scenes. It's always fun.
Oh, it's ugly. Okay, so plus houses. The more houses you sell, the more money you make. The more money you make, the more people you attract. The more people you attract, the more houses you sell. Right. So this is your basically your referral business. This is your sphere of influence business. Right. So if you start thinking of it, like Elizabeth, nobody said, let's build a plan that's so freaking complicated it's got to work. Nobody ever said that. Right. So I was like, how do I simplify stuff? If I have one superpower, it's simplifying things and making it understandable to other people. Okay, so that's what I did on this one. Okay, so your job is to sell more houses. Perfect. Okay, and for that, you're going to need more people. So what are the things we can do to get more people to get more house sales? The more house sales we make, the more money we make, and then we can invest in our business and attract more people that sell more houses. Right now, here's the fun part. When we're talking about attraction, EXP takes us to a different level. I've done this cycle with real estate agents, and then they do whatever they do and they go off and they do their own thing. And I teach them, train them, coach them, they go off and do their own thing, and then they go out of the company and I don't make a dollar, right? Because there was nowhere for them to go in the company. In the EXP system, like, I want you to go somewhere. You want to build your own nest? Hell yeah. Let me help you, right? I'll start gathering sticks with you. Okay. So in this process of selling more houses, you're going to meet more people, but you're also going to have real estate agents on the other side of those transactions. So Elizabeth, the shortest path between A and B for a real estate agent in EXP, say, well, I don't know what to do with attraction. Okay, so, well, number one, let's do a freaking amazing job selling a house. Okay, that's number one. Because if you suck at selling houses, get better. Okay, nobody started a master. And it's like, just be real direct and real honest with where you are, and then get better. Okay, nobody started a master. I build electric bass guitars as a hobby. I sell them for $3,000 plus a piece. Okay. One of my bass guitars was played in the Terminator soundtracks back in the day. Okay. So yeah, weird, right? I have no idea how to play a bass guitar, but I built them. Okay. And the whole thing comes down to, it's like, I didn't start off great at that. My first one was pretty good, right? But 60 of them later, I'm a little better, right? It's the exact same thing with any craft. So look at your business as a craft, start treating it like a craft and learn, try some stuff and screw some stuff up. Right? Not everybody's amazing like Elizabeth, easy for me to say, Elizabeth, right out of the gate. You got to work towards it. You got to move.
I was not great out of the gate, by the way.
I know. And you've said that. It's like, and even now you still don't see yourself as great in some ways, right? But that's human. Welcome to being human, guys. If you don't feel like you got it, listen, I'm in leadership and I wonder why the hell they put me here half the time. How the hell did I get this job? You can't tell me I'm the best guy for this job. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Because you dress snazzy.
That's 50% of the battle. Okay. All right. So in the real estate transactions you're doing, do a great job, and you've got real estate agents on the other side of the transaction. So think about it like this. If I do 30 sales a year, I've got 28 real estate agents on the other side of those transactions. Those people know me and should trust me and should at least appreciate that I know what I'm doing. Those are the people that I have the ability to add value to over and over. Now, here's the fun part, Elizabeth. Recipe number one, I'm going to do that for selling more houses. I'm also going to send it to every single stinking real estate agent I know, because none of them know what the hell's going on in the market also. Okay, so the first thing to sell more houses is going to help you sell more houses, and you can use it for attraction. The second recipe I'm going to show you guys, you can use it to help sell more houses, and you can use that to send to other real estate agents because they don't have it either. The third one, you can use that to sell houses. And by the way, all your other real estate agents are going to want to see that stuff too. Okay, so recipe number one, real estate market update. You guys heard the conversation earlier, right? Hey, Russ, what do you do? Real estate agent. How's the market? If you do nothing else, get amazing at answering that question. get amazing at answering that question. Okay. I'm going to buzz through this pretty quick so that we get all three of the recipes. You get an overview of it. And by the way, I've got a little collateral email thing for you, Elizabeth. I've got a sample. I've got a video on how and why to do a good real estate market update. I've got a sample of a real estate market update video. And then I've got a white paper for number 2. I've got a white paper for number 3, and I've got a couple other little videos that go along with this so to help build this out. So if you guys are freaking out saying, oh my God, I've got 800 questions. Yes, you're going to have a bunch of them. By the way, after you do this for a month, you're going to have even more questions. So here's the deal, Elizabeth. This is a twofer. Okay. You got me today. They're going to play with some of this stuff. They're going to have a shit ton of questions, and you're going to bring me back so I can answer them. Like, you guys are working on this stuff, doing this stuff. What are you running into? And you run into all kinds of crazy stuff, right? Like, I ran out of duct tape and I don't know what to do with my lights. My box isn't tall enough. Okay. You run into all kinds of problems. Welcome to the real world. Solve it with duct tape. That doesn't work. Super glue. If that doesn't work, hit it with a hammer. That's the rule, right? Okay. Contractor's code. If it's moving and you don't want it to, use duct tape. If it's not moving and you do want it to, use WD-40. If it can't be fixed with a hammer, it's an electrical problem. Contractor code. All right. So here's the deal. Recipe 1. Okay. Market update. Okay, so here's the thing. This is really simple. Okay. Is the market shifting?
Oh, you're asking us. Yes.
Is the market shifting?
Markets. Well, I know what my answer is. I'll let other people answer.
Is the market shifting?
It seems like it.
Yes.
Always.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not going to go based on what I think and what I feel. I'm going to go based on facts. Here's the thing. There's a couple people are saying market shifting, market shifting, market shifting. I've been in 10 cities in the last 3 months. And I will tell you, every stinking one of those, I stood up there. I'm like, hey guys, is the market shifting? They're like, yeah. You see it, like, inventory's going way up. And they're like, yeah. And prices are going to start dropping. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, and days on the market's gone through the roof. Yeah. And I'm like, bullshit. Let me show you your numbers. And I walk them through their numbers and I'm going, guys, this is not bad. This isn't even a third of the way to a normal market, right? I'm looking at the inventory doubled in Southwest Indianapolis. Okay. Doubled. Ooh, you guys notice that? And they're all like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's up to a 1 month supply of homes from a half a month supply of homes, right? You guys would have to 5-fold this. You need 5 times more inventory to be a normal market. This times 5 would be a normal market. So are you guys shifting? By the way, it's a fall. Inventory always goes up in the fall in the north. Okay. So like, you just got to have an understanding of what this is all about. And by the way, Elizabeth, I've got a video that kind of talks about like going back to 03, 04, 05 and what happened and what's normal. I had 4 people that are brand new. I'm like, guys, let me explain to you what's normal going back into 03, 04, 05. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't know that. So having the context will be helpful. It's like an hour conversation of me, and I draw a bunch of pie charts and a bunch of squiggly lines. I'm like, here's what a normal market does. So we're not even in a ballpark of normal in a bunch of our markets. Are there a couple that are getting hit? Yes. LA got punched in the face. San Diego got punched in the face. That happens, right? Seattle's flattened, but it didn't go down. Oregon saw a little bit of a flattening. But like when you get into the Midwest is still on fire. And the Chicago market is actually better than it was last year. I'm rolling their numbers and I'm like, so was last year pretty good? Boom, 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 boom. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, do you know what your numbers are for this year? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, it's better or worse? And they're like, worse. I'm like, no, it's not. Let me show you the numbers. Their market actually had less supply and more demand. So their inventory their supply of homes was actually worse than it was the year before when they're like, this market is amazing. This is more amazing than last year, but you're listening to the nonsense and you don't know the facts. So get to know the facts, get really good at market update. I'll send you the video on how to do that. Okay. So market update, just realized I spelled market update. So do a real estate market update. Here's why. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know the facts, it makes it almost impossible to sound, look, and smell like an expert. If you want to get paid like an expert, you better look like one, sound like one, and smell like one, right? Nothing more experty than knowing what's going on in the real estate market. So if I was a scientist and my specialty was chemistry, thank God that's not me, should I know the formula for H2O? And they're like, okay, what's the formula for H2O? Oh, wait a minute, that's water. Yeah, what's the formula for water? H2. Like they wouldn't even, like, it would just be part of their site. Is like they couldn't even miss it. They'd never miss it, right? It's just ingrained in them. You got to get so good with your market update information. It's so ingrained in you, you know it well. Now, here's the drawback. You're going to know all this experty stuff. And when somebody asks you about it, you can't throw up on them. Okay. So here's the deal. Let's make a shift, and then I'll tell you exactly what you do with a real estate market update. Okay. I'll give you the recipe on exactly what to do with that. Okay. Somebody says, Elizabeth, hey, Elizabeth, what do you do for a living? And you say, I'm a realtor. I'm a realtor.
I'm just letting you go. Sorry, I'm like trying
No,
to
just jump in with me. I'm playing with you. This is interactive. Okay. So I'm a realtor, right? And then my question to you is, how's the market? Right? So you've been taught all this stuff that doesn't work, or it's frustrating and aggravating, doesn't work like you want it to. So let's make this simple shift, okay? Somebody asks me, how's the market? So instead of me chasing them and going into an elevator pitch and trying to sell them something and scaring them away, I'm going to shift to attracting them, okay? So stop chasing them, start attracting them. So here's how you attract them. Elizabeth, you know, people ask me that question all the time. I do a real estate market update every month that tells people what's going on in the market. Would you like me to send it to you? And they say what?
Sure.
They say yes. They say yes almost every single time. And that one knucklehead that says, how's the market? And then says no when you offer it to him, you want to run. You ever get that one client and you're like, man, I should have probably never done business with this guy. Yeah, that guy's going to throw up a flag. He's going to say, hey, I want a market update. Can you tell me what's going on? And you say no. And then you say, I got something. And he says no. You run from that person. They're throwing up a flag saying there's something wrong with me. Okay. When someone shows you who they are, good or bad, believe them. Okay. Believe them. Give people a second chance, but don't get run down a rabbit hole with a person doing knucklehead stuff over and over and over. That's what we do with our customers. With our customers do knucklehead stuff. Stop it. Stop letting them. Okay. So here's the fun part. Somebody says, how's the market? I do a real estate market every month that tells people what's going on in the market. Would you like me to send it to you? And they say, yes. And then I pick up my phone. I say, great. Let me get your info. Okay. And they're going to be willing to give you their info. Don't be shy. Don't hesitate. Just grab your phone. Let me get all your info. Let me make sure I get everything. Okay. I have people say to me all the time, oh, Russ, you know, it's really hard to get people's address. I don't know. How's the market? Great. What's your info? Great. Phone number? Let me get your current address. They give it to me. Right. What's the best email for you? Boom, boom. Now I repeat that back. Right. Guys, you ever go out and a lady gives you their number? Like, remember the good old days? You get somebody's number, right? And what you do is you read it back. I just want to make sure I get this right. So your number is, and whatever they wrote down on that paper, you repeat it back with one number wrong. If they correct you, it's the right number. If they correct you, it's probably the right number. If they don't correct it, they're trying to get rid of you. Dirty trick, right? Okay, so do we see buyers and sellers do that? Can you imagine in an open house scenario? So think about it. I'm doing an open house. I'm not a huge fan of them personally, but if you want to incorporate that in your business, great. And if you do, you're going to need to have tricks in your pocket like this. Buyer comes in. Hey, my name is Russ. Nice to meet you today. I know most people that come into open houses don't want me following them around, but there's 3 things in this house that are super important that the seller wanted to make sure you see. Would you mind if I showed you those and then I can leave you to your own devices? And they say, yes. Absolutely. And then I happen to have 3 things on opposite ends of the house, so I end up giving them the tour anyway. But they're doing it willingly, right? And in the process, I ask them, hey, by the way, have you heard what's going on in the market? And they say, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Great. By the way, I do a real estate market update every month that tells people what's going on in the market. If you're going to be buying, this is something you need to know, so you stay on top of what's going on. It'll help you get the best house. Would you like me to send that to you? And then they'll say, yes. If they're seriously going to buy, they're going to say yes. If they're not going to, if they say no, they're not serious buyers. Walk away. Don't even worry about them, right? The ones that say yes, add them to your sphere. So the goal is to add people to my sphere and then work them well. Okay. So real estate market update. I'll show you the recipe on how to do that. Okay. You're going to have a real estate market update. You're going to drop this out 2 times on social. Okay. I'm going to drop that out on whatever people say, Ross, what kind of social should I use? I don't care. Whatever one's the one you're going to use. Okay. If you're a big fan of one, run with it. Okay. So you're going to drop it out on social, and 2 days later, you're going to retread the same thing and say, hey, by the way, here's the thing, just in case you missed it, here it is. Okay. You got to do this on video. And I know this sucks because some of you guys are like, yeah, I'll do video, and you never do. Okay. So a couple things on video, real simple. Okay. Nobody likes the way they look on video. Nobody likes the way they sound on video. Okay. I will tell people over and over and over, and you'll hear me say this when I'm talking to Tristan Ahumada later today on Friday Fire Show. Right after this, I'll be talking to him, and I will say the same thing because it makes me laugh. Okay. For me, when I see myself on video, I look like an overdressed turtle, and I sound like a Muppet. Okay. That's jacked up, isn't it?
That's jacked up. You do not look like a turtle or sound like a Muppet.
Okay. So that's great, but that doesn't make me feel any better, because to me, I play this back and I'm like, God, can't you add like, I like Cliff Freeman. You hear his voice? That guy's like the voice of the announcer. He's got the great, beautiful. Dude, why can't I talk like that? The faster I talk, the higher my voice goes. Okay. So, but you got to get over it, right? That's your stupid face. You're stuck with it. You should feel bad for everybody else because they got to look at it. You don't even have to look at yourself when you're talking to somebody. Okay. So with that said, suck it up, get over it, and just do it. Even if it sucks, just do it. Okay. Video is the key. And here's the reason. A lot of people are like, well, Russ, I do a market update every month, but it doesn't do anything for me. And what do you do? That's my question. Right? And they go, well, I post this thing and I post this graphic, and I'm like, yeah, you're posting other people's crap, right? Do you want them to see somebody else expert, or do you want to see you as an expert? If you want them to see you as an expert, they got to see you with your pie hole saying experty stuff, because then they'll think you are the expert talking about the information, right? So it's super important that you do this, and it's a key to actually moving through all the rest of this stuff, okay? Just got to start doing it. I think last stat was less than 5% of realtors are doing video. 90% of people say they want to see video over anything else, and 5% of realtors are doing video. You guys want to stand out, market shift, whatever. You want to stand out, start doing video and do it effective, okay? So once a month, I'm going to do a real estate market update. Now, I'm going to do 2 different real estate market updates. It's all going to be right at my fingertips with the same info. So I can do 2 different videos with the same info. I'm going to do one that's hyper local, right? Because you guys keep hearing this, right? Real estate is hyper local. Let me tell you what that means. So when somebody says something to you from now on, say, what does that mean? Like, I'm missing something. What does that mean? Hyper local. That means they want to go to somebody that they think is an expert in that area, right? So right around your favorite area within a 4 or 5 mile radius, you want to be a hyper local expert, okay? Recipe number 3 is going to help you become that hyper local expert for them, okay? So hyper local expert. So you're going to do super hyper local market update. And then you're going to do an area market update. If you do nothing else, you're going to do those 2, okay? I'm going to post my local, hyper local market update. So it's, hey, my name's Russ Laggan, real estate dude, and I'm going to be doing a quick real estate market update for the area around Plymouth, Michigan. This place is cool. It's one of my favorite places in the world. So within 5 miles of downtown Plymouth Square at Kellogg Park, I'm spitting out stuff that people that live in that area are like, dude knows where he's at, right? Hyper local. And I talk to them about what's going on in that market. And then I'm going to do area also, because here's the thing. The people in Birmingham are 20 miles away. But those people in Birmingham are moving to Plymouth, and people in Plymouth are moving to Birmingham. So you want to have an area so they don't just go, hey, oh, he only works Plymouth. Like, I work the whole area, but I'm a specialist here too. So if you're moving in or out of the area, I can help you at either place. But this is my jam. This is my home spot, right? Do it right around where you are. Okay. So hyper local, super great. I've got two different videos, and I could post these 2 times, right? And I could post this 2 times. So there's 4 good real estate social media market update information pieces, 4 contacts per month, and you keep them short and simple. You can do 1 long one, and then you could do a couple of other short bullet points. Remember, guys, the only thing people ever ask me as a real estate agent, ever, before I do business with them, is, how's the market? It's the only thing. Right? They don't ever ask me what brand I'm with, what company I'm with, they don't ever ask that, right? They're, how's the market? Okay, so you've got to get good at answering that question. Do 2 of those. Now, the great part is same info. You can retread it and use it 2 times. So you get double duty out of it. Okay, so you get twice the effect with 1 shot. Okay, so there's number 1. Okay, second part is you're going to make sure you drop that on YouTube, because you're going to want to email this. Okay, you're going to want to email this also. So you drop that video on YouTube. So you can drop in links for that. And then you're going to email it to people. Here's why. Is everybody on social? Nope. My father and mother-in-law still not on social. Okay. Are they selling their house in the next 3 weeks? Yep. Do they know a realtor? Yep. Are they using me? Nope. My sister-in-law is a realtor too. Okay. So it's their kid. They're like, it's our kid, Russ. I'm like, fine. She needs the money more than I do. Email. Okay. I'm going to email, because some people are going to see that. A good open rate on email is 20%. Normal open rate's around 10. Okay. So you're gonna be like, well, Russ, but only 10% of people are gonna see it. Yeah, but you can't control who sees it here that much because people see it, right? But I know everybody gets it. They'll see it and they delete it. Even if they don't watch it, they're gonna see it and they're gonna have to delete it, which bing, Elizabeth Riley, delete, bing, Elizabeth Riley, delete, bing, Elizabeth Riley, delete. And then they're like, hey, we're thinking about selling our house. Bing, Elizabeth Riley, hey, I need to look at this. That's how humans work, right? They're gonna move about every 7 years. So guys, you better be planning a long game. Real estate agents, people don't jump into business with you in 30, 60, 90 days. It's not normal. It's a 7-year, think about it, like it's a 7-year process. Anything shorter than that is a win. So if you plan for a 7-year process, what are you going to do over that 7 years? Like, but get that thing for 7 freaking years. I'm going to sell my house. That's my person, right? So you got to start thinking long-term. Okay. Will doing this get you some short-term deals immediately? Dang right it will. Particularly if you've got a sphere of influence list, build that out, get all the info together and start doing this with them. And you're going to find somebody's going to be like, oh man, I completely forgot you're in real estate. And my buddy's going to start doing blah, blah, blah. I don't need anything, but they can refer business. It's very common for somebody to do this for the first 2, 3, 4 times. And people reach out and go, hey, I've completely forgot you're in a business. Bing. Now you got a deal, right? Now you're making money. Okay. If you're not working your sphere of influence, don't work at all. Just get out of business. Because here's the deal. Like, every lead you get should be going into your sphere of influence. If you're not working your sphere and you're just waiting for that one person coming to you that happens to want to do something right now in the next week or two, you're going to starve to death, right? Because the chance of a lead coming in wanting to do something in the first week or two is like a 0.25% in the first 30 or so days. In the first 30, 60, 90 days, it's like a 0.5%. Over the next 8 to 12 months, lead generated from lead generation online will close at around 2% if you really rock the heck out of it. And the guys that are standing on stage can get closer to 4. Teaching the stuff, they get closer to 4. Your sphere of influence can hit it close to 10%. So if you work these 3 recipes well, you can get closer to 10%. Even if you suck at it, you're still going to get 5, which is way better than doing lead generation stuff. So everybody you contact and communicate with, get your real estate market update. And do a market update. Would you like me to send it to you? Boom. Yes. Okay. So market update's number 1. Okay. You're going to do it on social. If you do nothing else, do the social stuff. Then drop it in email. Since you're going to have to put it somewhere, drop it in email. Send it out to everybody in your system. And then here, if you guys want to make this really effective, here's where you actually print out a version of, you say, hey, I do this on social media and I send this out and it's on my YouTube channel, but I actually will mail them a synopsis. Hey, by the way, it's a winter time and I jumped out of town for a couple minutes to get warm. And you may have noticed the real estate market is changing a little bit. And let me tell you what's going on. Boom, you do a really quick 1-page write-up with it and you stick it in the mail. Here's the thing. I know if I stick it in the mail, 100% of them will get seen. Right? Guys, think about it. Like, nobody's mailing stuff anymore. Mm-hmm. You're the person mailing stuff. They can start to grab that and run with that, right? So you become the only person that's actually mailing them something. You don't have to do it every month, but you better do it every other month at least. So do this first. And if you get a little bit extra time and you got a couple dollars in your pocket and it's like less than $200, $300 to do per month, mail stuff to them. Or do half your sphere one month and half your sphere the next month. So then you've always got something in the flow, okay? But mail almost guarantees every single person is going to touch it. My sister-in-law does only mail. She doesn't do the other stuff, which I can't make her do anything, right? Horse water thing. She sent out the mail thing. She gets 3-4 transactions a year just from the mail thing. She only has like 140 people in her sphere. If she did the rest of it and people started to see her more often saying the stuff that's intelligent and looking like an expert, her number would go through the roof. Okay, so with that said, mail is a great way to add it on. Do it last, but don't miss it. If you got the time and you need the business, do that. Okay, best return on investment you can do. Okay, and it takes time. Most of the time, when you send something like that to your sphere the first time, you're going to get some people that reach out to you. Right? Remember what we were talking about? Stop chasing business. We're to start attracting business. The first couple of times you do this, people are going to reach out to you. Hey, oh, so great, I got that, and you reconnect with people. Right? Good. So that's recipe 1. You guys got a video coming on that. Recipe 2.
You guys are gonna love this. Okay.
Recipe 2. People say, hey, Russ, well, you know, I really don't have that many people in my sphere of influence. I said, okay, great. But why did you get a real estate? We got to get there, right? Let's get you out there and build some people in your sphere of influence. So let me show you how to add a bunch of people to your sphere of influence really quick. Let me ask you a question. If you're out and about and you're working with people with houses, are all the houses you work with and sell all amazing? No. Do you realize that 90% of real estate agents never communicate with their people that they did sales with and their past customers after the closing? Do you realize that? That's a statistic was studied. right? 90% of real estate agents never reach out to their person after they did a closing. Do you know why? Because they were like, this number's insane. So they're like, why are they not doing it? And what came back top of the list was, I'm afraid something on the house broke and they'll blame me. I'm like, what? Okay, so if that's the case, let's shift that. Okay, if something is something on the house going to break? Yes. Is something on the house when you buy it broken? Yes. 6 months from now, something else is going to break, right? So shouldn't we be a resource? If I become a resource for contractors, changes the game, right? So now when something breaks after the fact, I tell my sellers and my buyers, are like, hey, by the way, if something breaks on this house, reach out to me. Let me know, because I probably got somebody that can help you solve that problem. Okay, now I become a resource. I want them to reach out to me and see me as a resource. So I'm going to build out a contractor list. Okay, I'm going to build out a contractor list. And the reason I'm going to build out a contractor list is, here's the thing. How often is the average American going to buy or sell and move a house? Every 7 years, right? How many people that own a house are going to have something break on their house? All of them. How many times a year? Probably like 7, right? I have 7 things break on my house every year that I need somebody to help me fix a lot of times. Okay. I'm a do-it-yourselfer and I still have to have contractors at my house every year. So if that's the case, instead of having 1 hit every 7 years, I've got 7 hits every year. I've got 7 opportunities for me to be a resource for them. And by the way, if they call you when it's time to grab a plumber and they got a plumbing issue, there's a really good chance they're going to call you when it's time to sell their house. Because now I'm a resource. I'm their go-to person. I'm the one, as in ninja selling, they'll say, you're the one in the flow, right? So I want to let everybody know, by the way, I have a contractor list. All these contractors are vetted. They've got to be good, reasonable, communicate well, show up on time, and have a decent price, okay? That's my criteria. If they don't fit that criteria, they don't end up on my list. And people go, oh, cool, great. So now people are like, well, Russ, I just referred to Angie's list because then I don't have to worry about the contractors. If I've got good vetted contractors that do a good job, do you want to be like, okay, well, just go to Angie's list? No, I want to be the resource for that. Am I going to get burned on occasion with that? You're damn right I will, because contractors do weird crap. Let me show you a couple of ways to stop that from happening to you, okay? Number 1, by the way, Elizabeth, I have a list that I put together of different contractors that touch a house, because not all of you guys have been in the business like me. So I started spitballing a list, and I came up with 60 different types of contractors that touch houses. Would you like me to send that list to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to send that list to you and you can send it to these guys. Only send it to the ones that showed up.
Perfect. I will.
Okay. Good. There's a good, thank you for showing up, guys. Okay. You're participating in your own success. We're going to help you with that. Okay. So I've got a list of 60. Now, if I just built out that list and hit 1 of each, I'd have 60 more people in my sphere of influence. Hey guys, here's a news flash. Do contractors live in houses? Yeah, right. So I got a contractor. I can use them as a referral partner. Hey, by the way, are there some people in my sphere of influence that are contractors? Uh-huh. Well, if I start referring business to them, if they're good, I start referring business to them, it's double duty, right? How are they going to list their house with anybody else if I'm the one sending them business? When somebody says plumber, Chris King, boom, off the top of my head, right? I got Walter, boom, he's a full remod guy, do additions to house, right? So you have these lists of people, okay? By the way, do you think there's a possibility that some plumber went to a house last week and the seller's like, hey, we're thinking about selling our house in the next 3 or 4 months and we got this little leak. Can you fix this for us? So who actually sees some of these people going to sell their house before they actually talk to anybody else? Contractors, right? So now the contractor list isn't going to close at 10%. Trust me, we studied it, looked at it, run the math, run the numbers, okay? It closes more like 5%. Okay. But as I build this contractor list out, let's say instead of 10%, I've got 60 people in my contractor list and it only closes at 5%. That's 3 more sales every year just building out a contractor list. And you become a resource. That's just from the contractor list, right? That's not to say, hey, I took care of my sphere and now my sphere is converting at 10. My contractors are converting at 5. So I've got 200 people in my sphere. I'm a resource for them. They get my market update. They get my contract. I say, by the way, I got a contractor list. It's always changing. So let me know, because I'm updating it all the time because contractors do weird stuff. So I replace them. Let me know if you ever have anything. They reach out to you for that. Now your sphere is converting it closer to 10. If I've got 200 people in my sphere, that's 20 sales, right? My sphere of contractors is only 60. That's 5 more sales. So now I'm at 23. Anybody want to know how to get to Icon? Just wait, there's more. Okay. So contractor list. By the way, is there a difference between a high-end contractor and a fix and flipper contractor? Yes, there is. If you don't know that, go try it. Send your $1 million customer your fix and flipper contractor. They're going to sue you. Send your fix and flipper. I said, send your $1 million contractor to your fix and flipper, and they're gonna complain. The guy's price is ridiculous. Yeah, he's used to working on shower heads with 14 shower heads and a computer panel to run the damn thing. Heck yeah, he's expensive. Okay. So do I need 2 different contractors of each? So I got a list of 60. Now I got a high end and a low end guy, right? I got my $1 million guy and I got my fix and flipper guy. So I got 2 of each. So now my contractor list just turned into a list of 120. And if I work this consistently, and by the way, all my contractors get my market update, nobody else is sending it to them, right? Do you guys get a market update from everybody on a monthly basis? No, they don't either. So now they're on the list. So when somebody's like, we're thinking about selling our house. Hey, man, I got this guy that does this market update. That's amazing. Tells you what's going on in the market. This guy's an expert. Makes it super easy for them to refer you because they're seeing your stuff too. Okay. With that said, I've got a high and a low end, so that's 120. Now, remember, they don't close at 10%. So that's 6 transactions. So now I went from 20 from my sphere plus 6 from my contractor list. By the way, because I don't think inside the box, I don't even know where my box is anymore. My top end contractor's good, right? So is he busy? So shouldn't I have a backup? Because my guy's busy, so he's not always available. So I got a backup guy. So like 2 high end, 2 low end, right? So now my list just turns into 240, closes at 5%. You're looking at 12 real estate transactions referred or done with you from your contractor list. So how would you like to add 12 sales to your list, to your sphere, add 12 sales to your end of the year by just building out a contractor list, which you probably should have anyway. And it's kind of fun, guys. You get to meet some people. By the way, you got a list of great contractors. So when something breaks on your house, you got a good guy or girl, right? Okay, so there's contractor list. Okay, I've got a white paper with that. It's got a list of 60, and it's got the little recipe on the bottom on how you do that. Here's the fun part. I'm going to go onto social media and say, hey, I'm looking for a good plumber for high-end homes. And a bunch of people respond to me saying, oh, my guy is blah, blah, blah. And I put in this, okay? They've got to be reliable, show up on time, communicate well, and be a fair price. Okay, only send me those. So they send me a list. I'm going to get 7, 8, 9 of these in Facebook. Right. And where do they come from? They come from all kinds of places. They come from all kinds of people. So when somebody sends me, I was like, hey, thanks for that contractor you referred to me. By the way, do you get my real estate market update? They're like, no, as a matter of fact, I don't. Great. I'll put you on my list and make sure you get it. Oh, do you see how this works? This feeds this, this feeds this. Okay. 2 things working in conjunction makes it a lot more easy. Okay. This is lifestyle, living a lifestyle, just doing normal stuff. We haven't even started doing real estate yet. This is just me living a life. This stuff's happening around me. Why not tap into it? Okay. So I can get my contractor list. Even if you screw it completely up and you only get a 2.5% return, you're still looking at 6 more sales by running a good contractor list. So start on now. So I've got the white paper for that. Elizabeth, I'll send it to you, and a little instruction manual on the bottom that describes how to do that. Okay, good? Bam.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm out of time. Okay, number 3. You guys are going to have me come back for number 3. I'll send you the white paper for this. Social media done right. Okay, we got to do social media correctly now. Instead of going on social media and saying, look at me, I'm a realtor, you got to say, hey, I'm a resource. Okay. I'm going to be managing my contractor list. By the way, when I go out on social, what I can do is I can do a selfie shot video with my contractor. I'm like, hey, I got Chris King here. He was just over at my house. He did a great job. He kept his pants pulled up. He was a fair price. He showed up on time and he communicated and let me know when he's coming. You guys are going to have to slow that down to hear that right. Okay. And hey, check out Chris. Use him. He's a great guy. So now I'm doing social promoting him. Hey, I'm Russ, the real estate guy. This plumber's a great dude, right? Now I'm promoting other people's business on social instead of going, look at me, I'm a realtor. And everybody's going, stop it. Okay. So this is not look at me, I'm a realtor. This is let me give something to you, do something for you, social shift. Okay. So with that being said, I said, you guys, you want to live a cool life? I built my business mountain biking early on. I also did some golfing. Got flies coming around. I also did some golfing, right? So in the process, can I do intentionally do some stuff out there and be engaged in stuff? So now I can do social on, hey, by the way, here's every walking trail in town. If you're going to do hyper local, I want to make sure everybody knows about everything local. There's a guy in Dallas named Levi Lassick who's done this, sold 64 houses his first year, just building out his YouTube channel, telling everybody about all the cool stuff in Dallas that's local. He became a resource of what's cool in Dallas. So start thinking like that. How do I become a resource of what's cool in your area? Every week I'm going to post a video. Hey, Russ the realtor, I'm checking out a new family-owned restaurant. Check this out. I can do foodie stuff. I can do all kinds of amazing stuff. It's Russ the realtor doing cool stuff, not Russ the realtor trying to fool you like a panhandler. Okay. So I've got a white paper for that and a recipe that goes on with that. And I've got to jump because I got to interview Tristan Ahumada and Jeff Whiteside, CCO of eXp Realty. I got to do that for my next hour. So I'm going to have to jump off, but
Russ, this is awesome stuff. Was this helpful, guys? Thumbs up, yes?
Thank
Good
you
stuff.
so much. That was so helpful.
Russ,
Good.
you can bounce. If you'll send me that, I'll share it to everybody in this group.
Yep.
For those of you guys that want to stay on for a couple more minutes, we do have a few more minutes, but Russ, thank you. And then, yes, we want to have you come back because I know you have so much nuggets, and especially on the attraction side.
I can do an hour on this, an hour on this, and an hour on this. And you guys got the core of it. So grab something, run with it. And if you get stuck on something, reach out. Okay. I'm super accessible.
Thank you, Ross.
We'll
Thank you, Ree.
Okay. See you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate you, man.
Let me jump. Okay. Told y'all he had some energy, right? Yeah, was that helpful? Y'all can unmute.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Awesome.
he's
It was
good.
really good.
I just started thinking of all these people that technically are in my sphere, and I've been discounting them, and I'm not going to discount them any longer.
You know, it's interesting that you say that too, because, and what I love is about the contractor list and using that as a resource, because you need to put everybody that knows you or that you know in your database. And what I also like is that you need to control the narrative. You need to control the conversation. So I don't give out business cards anymore. I mean, I don't need to, because if I give a business card, I can't control that conversation. But if I can say, you know what, I don't have any business cards on me, just like he was saying, what's your information? I'll send you all my contact, and then you can send a handwritten note. You guys know I'm big on that. But then adding people in a unique way, not just the people that know, like, and trust you, but the contractors and the resources in your database builds that way. So, I mean, we all do business in different ways, but I just took a ton of notes on things that I'm not doing that I could be doing. And it's not rocket scientist. Like, I hate video.
I was going to say, I've always built my business. I never carried business cards. Do you know that? In 12 years, I've never had business cards.
Yeah.
I always took their number right near. I said, here, let me do that. And I shoot their information, and then I would follow up with a text. That's why my entire sphere is in my phone. All 5,000.
Yeah. I used to give business cards out all the time, and it's like, oh, I never heard from them. And then I always love it when people are like, I don't know how to get their addresses. Y'all, we're real estate agents. We have access to data that most people don't have. So go stalk them, go find their information, and don't chase them. But if you're dripping on them passively, they're not going to be mad at you for sending them something in the mail or reaching out to them, on a consistent basis. What else? What else was valuable? What else do you guys want to add? I love Russ's energy, and he's done really, really big things. So I'm excited to see what he's going to send us.
I love the he's talked about being hyper local versus, your area, because the area I'm in Galveston is part of the Houston MLS. And I mean, those of you from Houston know how huge, there's 45,000 agents. There's all kinds of different markets, and working two different markets is tough sometimes, because where I live in Galveston, completely and totally different than in Houston, but I need to know both. And I love that he touched on that.
I want to piggyback on what Michelle just mentioned. That was the takeaway for me, that there were two updates that should be done, area and hyperlocal. Whereas, most people just send out a single update, right? So if you sing out two, double the impact with the same amount of effort.
Well, and not only that, I think the narrative, we can change the narrative, because just like you said, people are like, oh my gosh, we're seeing everywhere, the market is bad. The market is bad. There's all these issues, and there's really not. I mean, a lot of us that were in the business in 2008, 2009, when the market really was changing, and markets shift all the time. It's what you make of it. But he had a very, very good point. I mean, we still don't have a lot of inventory. We're not a balanced market. Rates are changing, things like that, but we can change the narrative so there's not so much gloom and doom. I've got 7 listings coming up, because when that exact same question, how's the market? Is it a good time to sell? Yes, it is. And let me show you why, right? If I would say, no, the market's bad, rates are up, buyers are hiding, they're not out. I mean, it's not really accurate, because people are always buying and selling. And so my sellers are going to have more of an advantage, not having to compete with all this inventory, right? So they're going to be the ones that people choose, because there's not a lot to choose from. So I really liked how he talked about that too, going, okay, really understanding your market. I never really thought about the area marketing updates either. So yeah, huge takeaway for me. What else?
Well, and I thought it was really interesting because I think so many of our markets have all these little suburbs where we're hyper local on those. But where he was like, hey, I know you may be moving from here to my market or out of my, out of my hyper local market to somewhere, connecting it so that whoever sees that video understands you're not just in Plymouth, Michigan. You can do more areas of Detroit, Michigan, like he was saying, right? Because I think that's always been my concern about being too hyper local is people are like, oh, well, you only sell in that area. And so the way he connected it, I thought was really great.
Yeah.
I'm doing market updates videos. I started in the beginning of the year after the sales mastery that I went. And that's what they say as well. You have to do the local and then you have to do like your area. For example, I'm in Clearwater, but I'm doing all Tampa Bay. And then I focus on Clearwater and I do both in the same video. And the challenge is that you have to try to be under a minute, which is a lot of information that you have to give. The first video, it took me 1 minute and 30 seconds, I think, or probably a little bit close to 2 minutes. But, as you go, you can be better and you can pick the information that you really want to share about, the area and then about your hyper local, market. Is a process, but I started doing the beginning of the year and I commit to do once per month and that's what I'm doing. And I mean, people like it. I have a few people reaching out to, hey, that's great. I didn't know about that. So I was very surprised about it.
Well, I think the magic potion or the magic pill to any of what he talked about or any of the things that we're talking about is consistency in anything we do. Like every single one of us on here, we have business in a different way. We're building our business in a different way. Like Takara is awesome with social media and videos and things like that, which I'm not going to compare myself to her because that's just not what's authentic to me. But can I learn from her? Absolutely. But I'm going to figure out what's authentic to me and how I want to build my business. And I'm going to be consistent because whatever you do, if you're not consistent, it's not going to work. And you're going to get frustrated and you're going to give up. We didn't get into this business just to, snap our fingers and it's an immediate, transaction and a closing on the books, right? It's a lot of work. And I don't think people understand how much work it is. But if you set a plan in place and figure out who you are, comparison kills joy. Y'all hear me say this all the time. We're all amazing in our own right. We can all learn and pour into each other in different ways, but figure out what you're good at and then just put gasoline on that and be consistent and do it monthly. I don't care if it's once a month. I don't care if it's twice a month. I don't care if it's once a quarter. Just be consistent in that, because when you are, then you're going to see those results come in. And then once you have that pattern down, then you can start adding other things that supplement what you're already doing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Or changing things. And the other thing, Elizabeth, that I want to add over there is that sometimes even if you're not seeing results, keep doing it because you don't know who is watching you. Yes. You don't know who's watching you. Hasn't happened to me, but I have heard stories of other agents saying, hey, after you're doing it, I have people reaching out to me like, hey, I'm reaching out because I've been consuming your content for a year. So that's crazy. That was like mind blowing for me because they are watching you and what you're doing. And after a while, because you're building trust, even though if it's in social media or whatever you're doing, is a process. So, and you have to be patient and just keep, doing it. So it will pay off for sure.
And on top of those things, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, thanks for that, Elizabeth. Definitely with video, even just posting consistently, I've had agents that have either looked at my listings or I've sent an offer to them and they're like, hey, you're the basketball realtor. I see your videos. So it does work and you never know who's watching. Even when you guys are doing those market updates, even if you go over the time, guess what, guys? We have the beauty of editing our videos and putting out what you want to. So if you make a 4-minute video and you want to keep it under a minute, you just got 4 different sections and you did it in one take. So definitely repurpose that. Go ahead, Marcus. Sorry about that.
Carl, that's good.
Oh, no, all good. And kind of what Takara was just kind of mentioning there, I loved when he showed us the power of overlapping. hey, you're doing this market update for your SOI, but then hey, now do that same market up and do it to your contractors list, because if your SOI ever needs anything fixed, you have a contractors list, and then your contractors are always in houses. So when they think of you too, and so now your results are compounded through overlapping. That was kind of like an aha moment for me.
And I think the biggest thing is the one consistency, going back to basics and making sure that you have your database set up and that you're consistently touching it. And I think Takara said, you know, and Lizette said, well, people have been watching me and I didn't know, it's been a year. And I think sometimes people get caught up in how many likes they get on social media and things like that. But believe me, people are watching you. Even if you get 1 like or 50 likes, even that person who has those 28,000 followers, it does not matter. It's you that they're looking at. So consistency is key. And I think a lot of times in this business over the years, I've seen agents where they give up and they're like, oh, I did this for 3 months and nothing has happened. Sometimes it'll take 1 year to 2 years to really see the fruits of your labor and the results from the seeds that you planted.
That is totally true. Yeah.
So good. Yeah, people are watching us even when we don't know. And even to, I don't know who said it earlier, but agents are watching us. And so they feel like they already know us. So when you're in a transaction or I'm submitting an offer or something like that, I may have never met, this has happened recently. I've never met these agents. They think they know me. And I'm like, well, okay, that's good. So what you're putting out there is just being authentic to who you are. So then when they're interacting with you, they truly see that. But that's not only great. We're not only talking about client opportunities, but agent attraction opportunities. People join people, and people have been coming to the company following me because they saw me. And that's why I stay in production. We keep talking about that. Production is a great way to attract. And so if they feel like, oh, that's our culture, that's who I'm aligned with, they're going to want to be a part of our tribe. I mean, look at this. We're all just pouring into each other to help each other grow. So not only from a client standpoint, also with the client standpoint, though, look at all the referrals, right? We have so many referrals within this organization. So if your sphere already knows you, likes you, and trusts you, they're going to trust anybody. Like if I have a referral in Atlanta, they're going to trust me when I say, well, Michelle's your go-to. They're not even going to question that, right? So it's twofold. It's actually cascading out in different ways, not only from a sphere-based and a transactional base, but a referral-based and an attraction base.
Yeah, love that.
Well, we are at the top of the hour. Y'all are amazing. I'm super glad y'all were here. Next, what I'm doing is, you guys are so used to me. I want to bring in different people that add different value. I'm also going to bring in, I think I've told you this, I'm going to bring in leadership, because we're tight with leadership. We want to have this small, intimate conversation with them. So Russ was great. I've got other ones. Michael Valdez is going to come in. We'll get different people. I've got Dave Kennard's that I'll record, and I'll put that back in the tribe group. If you're not in the tribe in workplace and you're not plugging into that, make sure you join us in that, because we're all in the tribe and we have that workplace group, and there's a lot of value being added there all the time. And then we also have the exptribe.com website. So I want to make sure you guys are using the resources that we're all coming together and putting together. We'll have leadership coming in next Friday is Alicia Michaud. She actually dominates. You talk about consistency. She dominates her geographical farm. She actually taught in person here in Austin, and what she's doing, she owns the neighborhood, and she's got a lot of inexpensive to expensive ideas and things that you can implement immediately. But there's going to be a lot of tactical, hands-on information that you can take away from that meeting. So that's next Friday's huddle. Other than that, you guys are awesome. I adore each and every one of you. Happy Friday. Make it a great weekend, and you know we're here whenever you need us.
Thanks, Elizabeth. How will we get, when he sends you that, how will we get it? Will you post it in the tribe, or will you email it separately?
You'll each have to dance for a copy.
I got you. I'm ready. I'm getting that copy.
My husband was just at our door. I made him dance because the door was locked. I made him dance before he could come in. No,
at least let us know.
Yeah, I'm going to post it in the tribe. That's what I'm saying. The tribe and workplace is where we're going to house all that information. So once it's in there, you'll see it. But the tribe in workplace, make sure, if you're not already a member, you should all be a member. But if you're not, make sure you're in there. And then, like I said, exptribe.com has a lot of resources as well. We can't post all the Zoom links and recordings there, but we'll post them into the workplace group.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great
Bye.
weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.